Right, I've got a message open. I can see it. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Good night, everybody. Yes, hello. People in England, it's midnight. Thanks for staying up to watch us. I can see there's 2 people out watching us. That's good. So here we are, and hopefully more will be watching later because we've got some very exciting guests today. They're sort of last-minute additions to the programme. We're going to have dungeon artist Jason Thompson joining us soon. He's a little busy running around. He's a dad of young kids. And then a little later, hopefully, Ken and James will be joining us. And you see Dale down there. I've minimized him. I've minimized him for the moment because this is like this is the last or the first or somewhere like this will be like the regular Poofle hour. This is going to be. I don't know. You know, Adam Prosser may come back at some point. You know, I should have asked him today actually, but. You know, so that might be a show. There'll be a spin-off show. What do you think about that, Dale? Do you want to be part of the Poofle hour if we do a Poofle hour?
If my rear end is stuck to my beanbag chair, I really can't escape it.
Yes, all right. You're sort of stuck there floating around through space on your giant beanbag.
If I'm on the show, then I'm not out spending money, so it might be a good idea to be on the show.
Yeah. So, where's Itsy Bitsy Spider? It's reversed. I don't know how to do it. Can I do that? Does that help? No.
No.
I don't really understand it. I can show it in the mirror.
Yeah.
I've got a mirror. I can look at it reverse myself, but you can't see my mirror. So I don't know what to tell you, but where's Itsy Bitsy Spider? It's got one more day, less than a day on Kickstarter. It's tomorrow. It's a lovely book of search and find puzzles, which is why I've invited Jason Thompson on, because he himself is a search and find artist. Or not exactly. You know, but what's the style? It's called Wimmelbilder style. Wimmelbilder. All right. So we're going to talk about that. And right now, and Dale Sibley will be here, my co-host. Say hello to Dale. Ooh, wait.
Hello, Dale.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Itsy Bitsy Spider podcast. If you haven't bought Itsy Bitsy Spider yet, I suggest you do so. And if you're a cartoonist, I suggest you get the ebook so you can have it open on your monitor to steal ideas from Chuck's work. That's why I bought the ebook.
Excellent. So that's good. You're quite a good Edbook man there. So I'm going to start the music, and I think Jason will be with us when we get back.
Hope so.
I'm just going up this water spout, y'all. Y'all, hope it don't rain.
The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. So the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I'm just going up this water spout, y'all. Hope it don't rain. I'm an itsy bitsy spider. I'm also a good hider. Y'all ain't gonna find me.
The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. So the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
It's going up this
Up the spout again.
It's going up this
Up the spout again.
Oh, Dale, what are you doing there? All right, let's.
I'm taking my pen and I'm banging the back of my head with it.
All right. Well, okay. Now I'm going to show you something. I got my bucket of dice.
Wow, you're such a D&D nerd.
Oh, okay, Jason. Okay, Jason's trying to join us. I can't figure out how to allow access to. Maybe try Safari. Yeah, sorry. Yes, we're using an app called Restream. It's great, but I think it doesn't require. It does on iPhone or Apple. Well, I'm using. It requires Safari on iPhone. They say, you know, but I'm using Chrome on my desktop. It's fine. But yes, maybe try Safari if you can, Jason. Sorry. Yes, especially if you're on mobile, definitely you need Safari.
It seems to work fine on
your laptop. Yeah, so I suggest Safari. If you can. Sorry.
As someone,
I don't know. It's a good app. It's very simple. I recommend Restream. And Adobe, although my friend Matthew seemed to think they did have a product, he said you can stream directly from Photoshop and do that, but they don't have a similar actual little app like this. So makes it very easy. I've got some good little editorial controls here. And yeah, all right, he's trying to fire it out. All right, we'll see him. He'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna. Well, I'll just...
It's nice to watch other people do tech support.
Yes. Where was I? Okay. Yes, my bucket of dice. What did I do with my dice? Magically disappeared.
It's a bucket. How did you just lose a bucket of dice? Wow.
Oh, here he is. I see him now. There we go. There he is, Jason.
Hi there.
Hello. There you go. You'll be big.
Sorry
Format
about
is
that.
we talk-
I'm sorry to be late.
Yeah, no, great. Yes, all right. I'll bring the chat window up here. So I just also heard from Ken and James, who I don't know if you know his work. He's excellent.
Of course I do. Yeah, he's wonderful.
Yes, so he might join us in a bit. But
Okay.
I thought that would be a good opportunity to talk about, I've got my bucket of dice here. You've probably got a bigger bucket of dice.
They're scattered all around the house. Actually,
Yes.
our 2-year-old daughter likes them, and she's just old enough not to swallow them. So there's probably some in her room, and there's probably some downstairs, and some in the dining room with the big D&D table that we used to use.
Oh, okay, great. Yes, let's talk about. Okay, look, Kennan's in the chat. I'm going to bring the chat.
Oh my goodness!
There we go. But maybe I need to change the background graphic, make it a little more clear.
Was Kenan just down at WonderCon?
There you go. Kenan, if you make any comments, if anyone makes any comments, we'll be able to see them now.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're just playing around. Yes. So Jason, you're a parent. Yes, and so is Kenan. Yes, as well. So yes. So that's something you guys will have in common. Having young kids. My
I
son.
was actually talking
little
to him
older
about doing some gaming together, but we couldn't make it work schedule-wise. But I know, but he's also a parent, and his kids are even older, which, as you know, brings its own benefits and disadvantages.
Yes. Well, my work, I started doing a lot more sort of children's book work. When I was doing Pewfell, and and then towards the end of Pewfell, I started introducing like the two, like he had kids, so I had the babies, and I sort of had that, and but then I found parenting sort of took over, and then I sort of wanted to do things that were more like children's book illustration oriented, and I just started going out after that sort of work because I'd done that a lot before.
Yeah.
So it sort of changes around, but now I'm sort of coming back to it, and I've been doing some maps for Goodman Games lately, like black and white ink maps, and I'm just really loving doing those, and that's really fun.
What maps for who? For what?
Yeah, for Goodman Games. Well,
oh right, sorry.
Yeah, well, let me show you quickly. Yeah, all right. Ooh. There we go. All right. Let me switch myself up again. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yes, actually, maybe I can. Well, I don't know. Well, I can bring up the screen shares too. But yeah, I'll just show you quickly like this. Yeah. But yes, and I want to really take a close look at some of yours too. But this is nice. Yes. So this is just like little short module pages. Wait, okay.
Oh, those are really lovely. Well, yeah, I hadn't seen that stuff.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, that's incredible.
Wow.
So I love doing them for the practical purpose of actually being able to use them to play with, It's very soothing. And after doing all the search and finds with people, much as I love it, they're so much less hectic, They're very soothing. They're very soothing to do them. But yes, so you're sort of somewhere in between, just a sort of straight map and a sort of cartoon map with yours. So yes, so where's some of yours I can bring up? I was showing the Village of Hamlet one.
Oh, that's a very good question. Hang on, I'm so green. I'm embarrassingly green with this restream, and I have a big
Yes.
text block in front of my screen. I can't see anything. Well, I love doing this maps. I sort of stumbled upon it 8 or 9 years ago when I was doing other cartoons for Wizards, and
Yeah. Okay. So tell me how you started working for Wizards. Let's go back to that. Yes. So that's sort of, that's that's sort of like a dream job, really, isn't it? You're working on D&D for Wizards, doing stuff. You're there. You're at the show. Playing in the big league there. So that's how did that
you're making it sound much more dramatic than it is. But yeah, I do love.
Well, I think it's dramatic. I'm thinking about I'm making the show for sort of thinking about young people who might be looking at this and. Thinking about trying to get a job. And, when you're young, you look at those sort of things. I'd love to be doing that. So you achieved the dream there, doing that sort of thing.
Well, I do feel like a Marvel fan who's asked to do inks on the Incredible Hulk or something. It's when I first started working for them, Wizards.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And then they start cracking the whip, and
exactly. You don't know the half of it. It's. I've played D&D ever since I was about 8. When I got which would have been when I got the Arrow Lotus basic D&D set in elementary school, and I knew this thing called Dungeons and Dragons existed because knowledge of it filtered even down to elementary school, and but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was something like a board game, I didn't understand the concept of role playing. So when I actually got the book, I was like, what? I can't play this by myself. I don't understand this. What is this? And I didn't comprehend it until there was a teenage babysitter that my parents knew who they was a son of a friend who they invited over to run a game for me and another 8-year-old. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is what it is. It's just like rules it's just a justification for make-believe with rules. So yeah, that was the beginning. How I started working for Wizards, I actually just applied cold. Bart Carroll, who still works there and is still a great boss, opened up a submission for cartoons, and I just applied. Just randomly threw my cartoons at the wall, and they stuck. So they're
okay. So how did you? So you had your ear to the ground, and you heard that, and so as soon as you heard that, you thought, I'm going to do that right away.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
at the time I was working on other stuff, and I was doing a lot of manga-related work too, because that was my interim career. I was working for Viz as a manga localizer, and then later for Kodansha manga Del Rey. By the way, I want to say that I would love to. I see that. Hi, Kenan, and hi, Michael. I see you all in the chat, but I can't figure out how to comment. I'm sorry. I'm completely technically a butterfingers with this. So you must forgive me.
Jason, can I ask a quick question?
Hi. Okay. Here we go. All right. So here I am scrolling around. Okay.
Is your website
so here now this was I played D&D before. I encountered the village of Homlet. One school that I've been at, and there was a guy who had, I guess his dad had got it or whatever, and he had the early the little boxed edition.
Mm-hmm.
The original Greyhawk little folio thing, and he'd written his own little thing, and I'll always remember those sort of little early drawings. You were sharing some posts of somebody writing reviews of crappy dungeons that people had made, but he'd made his own. He had this character, the Ografant, that he'd drawn, and very captivating, and I was instantly very sort of captivated by the whole idea of it, and enjoyed that. And then again, I joined a group at my next school, and there was a guy, and he was running the village of Homlet, but he didn't do a great job of that at that time. In fact, he did not really capture me. So I went out of it again for a bit, but that was sort of in and out of it. And then I really started playing it a lot more, kind of more in university years and college years and stuff like that with those guys. So we'd all played it a bit as kids, but then we sort of settled and we started playing it more. And then I really enjoyed it. Yes.
Yeah,
but, I since have explored the village Homlet, and I love it. And so, and it's often one of the first that people encounter, I guess.
I think a lot of us, when we go back to those old modules, we just realize what a gap there is between our ability to play D&D or any role playing game and our interest when we were like in junior high 30 years ago versus today, right? And I think that's kind of the core of the whole OSR, old school Renaissance role playing game movement. It's just that if you're more mature, you might be able to get more out of these old games. But not that it's only old fogies playing them like us, but yeah, I mean,
I don't know,
D&D
because the young people are doing it, and my son took it up, and they were playing with their friends, like the Saltmarsh Campaign. It was very funny. I've been, and I'd never really run through all those old modules, so I've been doing that with the group that I sort of started when they started 5th edition, and we played through Rayman, and I converted it to Greyhawk, and I had a lot of fun with like doing which I keep meaning to catalog at some point. Like here's my I think quite well conversion from Greyhawk, and and then I wanted to play through those. So we started with Saltmarsh, but I was using other conversions that they'd got on RPG, Drive-Through RPG, and some of those sites.
Mm-hmm.
But so we've been going through all the way, and yes, they currently ended up prisoners in the halls of the Fire Giant King after having sort of hacked their way all down. So it's been great doing a very classic Greyhawk campaign, a long time, and it's been great sort of seeing your maps, because I haven't really, I sort of seen them before, but because I haven't really played through them, I hadn't studied them, so now I'm sort of able to study them in a lot more detail than I did before. So yes, I mean, if you've enjoyed playing these games or seen, and I do like that sort of participating in the shared world aspect of it. That's why I kind of quite like doing the classic Greyhawk or Fogey campaign. But also looking at this image here, you've got your classic Mockman figures. I mean, do you call them Mockman? That's the Mockman.
Yeah, that's first off, can you hear me now that I've actually set up an actual working
yes,
microphone, which I forgot I had? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are Mockmen, and those are my those are my cartoon figures that I've been drawing since forever. I kind of went away from them for a while, and in fact, the D&D strips that I was doing for Wizards prior to this didn't feature them. But then I just sort of stuck on them again for these simple maps.
So yes, so the idea behind these, and we've spoken about this before. I mean, and I guess it's well established at this point that the more simple of a face is, the more you can sort of project yourself into it. And you did, and again we talked about your wrestling, because it's insanely detailed. H.P. Lovecraft's drawing the central character, the dreamer, being the Mockman, going through it all, and yes, but this is the idea of being the avatar, which is exactly what D&D is all about. All the avatars of the different characters or the NPCs. They're sort of there for you to inhabit. So you establish this format through all of these maps, which you've done a lot of them now. Is this a recent one? Yeah.
Not so recent. It's probably 3 or 4 years old now. But it's not one of the first ones I did.
Right, yeah.
It's kind of, they're using the simple stick figures for these maps.
But this was one of the first ones. It's funny, I don't really remember sort of seeing it before, but I was like, but it's a good one to talk about because it's really established your entire sort of style.
Thanks. In addition to saving time, of course, the stick figures kind of, since these are all adventures where basically there's a lot of random deaths, it kind of establishes the mood and whimsically that the characters are sort of ciphers. It kind of sets up, it kind of adds the more humorous element to all the deaths and the sudden falling into pit traps and stuff like that.
So how much are you thinking about, like, you giving them all their different costumes and their outfits and things like that? Are you sort of doing that quite randomly, or are you sort of doing them to a more sort of specific brief, I suppose?
Well, it really varies. And even initially, my goal was just to do. And the very first map I did was Tomb of Horrors, and of course they're just stick figures, so they're like paper dolls. They're only what you put on them. And so I just wanted to do the most simple, recognizable figures there are. Like a wizard is someone with a pointy hat and a robe that has stars on it, right? A fighter, it looks like a knight, or someone with shield and armor and a shield. And but I've done a lot of these, and so I've started to get more. I've tried to get more whimsical and interesting, and not make it so obvious. But still, since they're cartoons, you need a certain amount of obviousness, And in fact, I was thinking recently that Dave Sutherland III, one of the very early Dungeons and Dragons artists. I always thought, honestly, he was the worst artist, to be blunt. May he rest in peace. And he's still in terms of technical skill, he's still bad. But I now have respect for him, because whenever he draws a fighter, it's just a person with a sword and some medieval armor copied out of a history book. It's totally recognizable. Whenever he draws a wizard, it's just somebody with a pointy cap. It's completely iconic. So for that, it's for that I give him respect.
Yes. I know what you mean. Yes. Yes. About for D&D art that in the old school it shouldn't look too much it's you could do it. That was the whole point of it. That you could write the dungeon, and Gary Gygax. My favorite thing about Gary Gygax, apparently he said that the real secret is that you don't need any rules.
Yeah,
the dice.
True.
And the pens and the paper and things. Other than that, the rules are sort of things you just sort of agree on between you for setting the odds and rolling the dice. But okay, so so the village of Hamlet here, is this accurate, the layout of the buildings? Do you go that far with it, or is that a general impression of the buildings in the drawing here?
Oh, no, those aren't actually following the accurate Hamlet map street scene.
Yeah, not in this.
For this map, I focused on the dungeon, and of course the town part only shows up on the side. It's very soothing. I don't know if it's this is going to sound a little ridiculous, but it's very soothing to create these little dioramas, And I think at one point for this map I wanted to do the town too, but then I decided that the Gatehouse was the obvious iconic thing to draw. For this one, I believe I drew both the internal diagram of the Gatehouse and the external, the ruined
yes,
ceiling.
Right. So now let's move on to the Gatehouse. Yes. Okay. Yes. So they start the village homeland, head off to the famous Gatehouse, that we've seen, and that's the original drawing of the Gatehouse is just one of my favorite of all D&D drawings. That was something actually I should have thought about it more and restudied it.
Jason, those buildings and that cutaway, are those done in actual perspective or orthographic perspective or made-up perspective?
Oh, are you talking which cutout are you talking about? Are you talking about the drawing of the Gatehouse itself, or are you talking about the little town drawings, which are basically just done as
all
a sort of embellishment for the title?
So far, I saw one which was was missing its roof, and you could see the interior rooms.
That's I think I found that online when I was looking for it, but I didn't use exactly copy it.
No, but yes, but that, I love it. This was one of the drawings that sort of really, I just would sort of stare at it and go, oh yes, that's just something very interesting about it. Yes, and you really sort of captured it again here. You're doing a slightly different perspective, but as soon as I see it, I'm like, oh, there it is, and it's all right, and But yes. So you're doing it so you're doing your own essentially you put everything in the rooms, which is a lot of work. That's why I know where the real work comes in. Because it's quite So tell me about your process a little bit of sort of doing these Yes, all right. I guess Dale was already asking you about that, but yes. How are you doing it? Because again, to me, you caught the feeling of the upper layer, which is sort of very well known and iconic. And there it all is. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I actually went on YouTube for a second to comment, so my audio got all warbled, and I hope you all couldn't hear the backwash. Sorry, were you asking me about how I do the perspective?
Yeah, how did you do it? How did you do it? I'm asking you. How...
Okay. Sorry. Okay, back a few minutes ago. So I've tried various methods. Initially, when I did the first couple of these maps, I just eyeballed everything out, and I still do that sometimes for really simple drawings. Because, like I said, it's very meditative. I love drawing backgrounds and landscapes, and actually once was going to do a comic with somebody where I was going to write the plot and I was going to draw the backgrounds, and they were going to do the characters. They were going to do the horrible work of drawing human figures, although that didn't happen. But anyway, yeah, the point is I love doing these backgrounds. So for this, anyways, initially I eyeballed these.
Not too bad. That's very fun. Yes.
Oh. Thank you. Well, so initially I eyeballed these, but I think for these ones I may have done something which I've been doing more recently, which I will actually take. I'll actually take the top-down map and then I'll turn it into a three-dimensional card in Photoshop. Then I can flip that around, So then I can get a completely accurate perspective of like the layout foreshortened from whatever whatever I need. But of course, honestly, then I usually have to tweak it a bit because I often don't want a totally accurate perspective, right? For instance, the narrow, if it's like the corridors will be too narrow, because I want to show some wall and some, I want to show some wall details, but often there isn't enough room to show a wall in these narrow maps, especially those terrible D&D maps where there's no, basically where all the rooms are right next to one another, there's no like darkness or like cave space or dirt in between them. And then I have to sort of stretch the area around the maps. But I think for this one, you can't see all the rooms because I had to make the walls bigger and say and put doors in. Anyways, this is a long way of saying that lately I've been using 3D assist. But as you can see in the Hamlet map here, the horizon line is not actually accurate up on the top left. It's much too close. But it's nice showing a horizon. It just feels to add, like it adds to the picture to have the. Usually it's good to show the horizon. So sometimes I'll cheat even when technically the horizon line would be taller. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yes, I always want to sort of show a horizon and break out of isometric perspective. Yes, exactly. Yes, and twist and distort the perspective. To tell as much story as you can within the image, I guess.
Yeah, I'm doing a project now where I'm doing a lot of architectural drawings. It's more of a realistic thing, but I'll still. It's nice to get a little bit of that, skyline in there, even if I have to make it a little unrealistic.
Now, do you draw and paint these all in Photoshop?
I do the art in pencil and pen on a Bristol board, and then then after that I'll scan it and I'll do all the colors in Photoshop. I'll do all the colors and all the rearranging. For instance, with the Hamlet map and most of my maps, it's drawn on several sheets of paper initially. But then I just composited the dungeon and the interior and exterior of the building together.
Okay.
And yes, and are you able to monetize these yourself? Like you can sell posters and things of them?
The standard Wizards contract allows artists to sell prints. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So that's great. Yes. So I'm sure
there's a little more to it. There's a little more to it than that, but that's basically how it works.
Yes.
But of course, it's all work for hire. All of this belongs to Wizards. So occasionally people will ask me like, "Oh, why don't you do the Keep on the Borderlands?" Or something like that, to give an example of one that I really would love to do. But it all has to go through Wizards.
Yes.
So
I'm pretty sure they'll keep you busy. I think, aren't they popular, these maps? I mean, I'm seeing them.
Of course. Actually. Yeah. I mean, they've given me the ability to do a mixture of new maps, which are often really interesting, but also just classic things, which has that, that warm alcohol of nostalgia, where I just getting to flesh out these, locations, which I spent so much time thinking about and poring over in my youth, and to redraw them in my own style.
How do you draw the maps? Did you copy other?
Sorry, what?
How did you learn to draw the maps? Did you copy other map making artists? I mean, how did you draw? How did you get over the hump and draw your first one?
Well, I mean, initially I'm a comic artist. I only studied a little bit of art in college. I was primarily an English major, but I started doing indie comics in the late '90s, so I just sort of, I just sort of did my best and a lot of practice, and got better. In terms of maps specifically, I hadn't really done many maps before I started doing these. I had done one map, which was a map of H.P. Lovecraft's Dreamland, which was a reward for a Kickstarter. Yeah, which was a reward for a Kickstarter for my Dreamland, my Dream Quest of Unknown Cadath graphic novel. So that was the first, and I've done a couple other maps for role-playing games and things that were fairly fleshed out. But that was the first thing that I done. It was a full color map, really. I own a lot of books on maps. It sort of snowballed. I started researching them, and I was looking for styles of vintage maps for the Dreamlands map specifically. And now people give me books on maps, and occasionally I'll still go to the library, and of course there's the magic of the internet.
All right, here we go.
Wow.
Where are my glasses? I lost them. Oh, there they are. Right. Well, this is not a super high res, but it's probably good enough. Yes, wow, yes, look at all this. Yes, and there's all the places. And yes, it's a perfect companion to the book you wrote when you were still a young whippersnapper.
That's actually not the most updated version of the map.
Okay,
that's
yes, it's not yet. Okay, yes.
Yeah. That's a rough version, which I released. I released in my blog because I worked on that for a long time and actually did two very different versions.
All right. Oh yes. Okay. Wait.
So let me see if I can. The final version has two.
No, I have it here. I think. Is this it? Yes. Is this the one?
Yeah. I should have all this ready to show with my own screen share. I'm sorry.
I should too. If I was a good host, I would have prepared it beforehand. Okay, is this the new one? But it's not very high resolution. Or is this the same? I can't tell.
Well, hold on. Maybe I can. Can I do it? Can I screen share? I can't.
Oh yes, you should.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
No,
it's not very high quality.
That's the correct one. Well, that's the one. I love the Dreamlands. That one was a lot of fun to do.
And
yes,
and of course,
shading, yes, that's great. Lots of black and white in this. Yes. So that was the thing about the map I was doing for Goodman. All of a sudden, I started doing a lot more black and white. Been doing. Which is very key to that sort of art, I guess.
So this is black and white ink on Bristol. About how long did it take to do this with research?
Well, the amount of research wasn't that much because it's all, for this one particular, because it's all just made up places. But although I did go look at a lot of books of vintage maps, and the palette was basically designed by me, by scanning and stealing colors from an old map by Stupendal. What's his name? I still saved in my computer as Stupendal palette. And I could spell that, but don't know how to access the chat without going onto YouTube. Yeah, it took me. This one took me a long time because, like I said, I did several false starts. That whole version that you put on the screen before, where the globe is sort of wide and oval shaped, that was my first attempt at it. And then I decided that the double globe looked best. So I actually spent more than a month working on this.
Wow.
I mean, that wasn't the only thing I was doing, but it was time consuming, but it was a very learning process.
Still quite small. All right. Well, I guess your IP is well protected.
Well, it's all. I mean, it's Dreamland. It's all it's all public domain.
Yes. Okay. Yes. It's all well. But your individual map. Is
Yes,
your
that's
copyright.
true. My map, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
actually, I recently
website.
licensed it to appear in a video game. Huh?
Oh, cool. Yes. All right. Video game licensing. Excellent.
Yeah, it's called Dream Cycle, and it's on Steam. It's a H.P. Lovecraft's Dreamland style sort of platform RPG. I mean, 3D platformer adventure RPG kind of game set in the Dreamlands. So Dream Cycle, like motorcycle, but 2 words, and the first word is dream.
Excellent. So, which are the more recent of your maps here?
Let's see. Well, the most recent ones that I've printed are the Giants maps. I have many more. Those are actually about 4 years old, but I haven't printed any maps in a while. Like my most recent map that I've done for Wizards was a map of the Rime of the Frost Maiden, Rime of the Frost Maiden, and that was their big adventure for the winter of 2020, end of 2020. And since I was stay-at-home dadding for most of 2021, I didn't produce any D&D maps. I'm not sure. Yeah, I might have to look for my name, and I'm not sure. It might be a bit tricky.
Yes.
There you go.
There we go.
Wow.
This is the Forgotten Realms. I'm not interested in that.
Well, that's the default. That's the way. That's the first room you go into when you open the D&D book. That's Forgotten Realms.
In this current era where nothing is going right.
Huh?
In the current era, like all these other things that aren't going right in this times, people are.
Of this current era of the world. I thought you were talking about some kind of deep D&D, meta plot that I wasn't aware of. You mean the world's meta plot? Yeah, right.
I'm talking about the global conspiracy. Yes.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So this one was fun. This of course is the Neverwinter, I believe. Yeah, it's never. No, it's not Neverwinter. It's past Neverwinter.
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called. Is this Neverwinter?
Icewind
Dale. Thank you. Gosh, I feel so. This is so embarrassing. This is like me not knowing. This is like someone is working for Marvel. This is like when they don't know who Iron Man is. This is my Icewind Dale.
Oh yeah, you can't do this at the ad agency. We worked on Yahoo, and the worst sin anyone could would be to say I Googled something when the client was in the room. Then you.
This one was a lot of fun, and you know what? The interesting thing about this map was I believe this is when I first mapped that it has no physical. This was drawn entirely on iPad. It has no physical original, or rather, the original was just a crummy pencil sketch, which I completely redrew and expanded.
iPad with Procreate?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the only trick is that even with I have my iPad was a gift from my incredible wife, but even with the greatest, most powerful iPad in the world, it's still not strong enough to hold these really gigantic multiple layer images like the 3 Giants maps that I did are each 2 foot by 3 foot. And they're the biggest. They're bigger even than Ravenloft, and they have like hundreds of layers. But Procreate and the iPad just can't manage that much. So what I had to do is I had to do the map in different portions. And actually for this, what I did with this, which I won't do again because I think I know better ways to do it now, is I actually exported the entire. I exported the entire thing to my Photoshop and worked on it on my desktop partially. Just so that I let the colors I lowered the resolution of the colors, and then I kept I added it back in the crisp line art, if that makes sense. I'm getting a little rambly technical here.
Have you played with Nomad Sculpt 3D on the iPad?
I haven't. I have even though I've done work that's appeared in that's been. I've done sketches of things that were later turned into 3D. That's most of what I've done for my film work. I actually don't know any 3D software, so no, I haven't, tragically.
It's cheap and it's available for iPad. It's just, I know some concept artists and cartoonists are now using things like Blender or ZBrush or other 3D apps to just quickly lay out reference to figure out perspective. That's why I was asking.
Oh, that's a good idea. Well, I mean, there's perspective tools in Procreate too, although they're fairly simple. Yeah, and it's Procreate has its tools, Photoshop has its tools. I haven't tried actually making actual 3D. I haven't used that program, but I might look into it.
It's fun.
Oh my god, there's so much in here. Like the more you zoom in, the more you see. Oh my god.
Yeah, this was a fun one. And of course, the original doesn't have any captions over it. So here or there's something covered up. I mean, I tried to position the captions so they didn't block any figures, but there's a walrus which is covered by a caption in one corner.
Yes. Do you write the captions, or do they write the captions?
I write the captions. And honestly, writing the captions, coming up with the story, that's the last thing I do, and it takes a lot of time. I mean, it takes a little while, and it's a different part of my brain than the drawing part of my brain, right? When I'm just drawing, there's a lot of just, I can listen to music or a podcast. There's a lot of a lot of time of just fine repetition of drawing trees, like drawing the crinkle of the coastline, even drawing figures and creatures is very soothing. But the writing, coming up with the story is a little more time consuming. And of course, I'm trying to come up with something that's as ridiculous as possible. I wanted to address something that Michael said in the chat. And Michael, yes, I do have characters reappear across the maps. I don't know if you've seen my map of hell, my map of the 9 hells, which I did for a hell-themed adventure that came out for 5th edition. But in that, all the characters are dead people from my previous maps, which was an idea I wanted to do for a while, and then finally I got the chance. The Steve Acrobat isn't in it, of course, because he lived a happy life.
Yeah. Back with the map of 9
we already
hells
know it's Steve Acrobat's ending.
Sounds like sometimes there's like a lot of work when you have to think about that. You put in characters. I don't know. I did it in Where's the Mermaid. I repeated characters. I thought I was saving myself time, but then I had to sort of write a story for all the characters and think about what they were all doing. So, I don't know. It was fun.
So it's tricky because I want to make it. I want to make it actually funny. I want to make it as good as possible. Here we go. Let's see if I have this image. Here we go. Yeah, I got this. This is one of my biggest maps. Let me see if I can do a screen. If you haven't found it, let me see if I can do a screen.
I got it here actually. I got it
share.
Yeah,
oh, you good? Yeah, it comes up pretty. Yeah, and this was done in Procreate too. Actually, parts of it were done in Parts of it were done on the shot of all the characters going into hell was originally drawn in pen on paper. The rest was all done in Procreate. And I had to do each layer as a separate Procreate file because they're not big enough otherwise.
Right. Oh, wait. All right. Oh my goodness. All right. Yes. There's welcome to hell, petitioners. Your evil deeds prepared you all for guaranteed post-lifetime employment, working for the great Asmodeus and the lords of hell. Please step through the metal detector to get your badge and your new body. And they're being turned into hideous. Yeah, well, that's good. Yes, well, that's what they say is going to happen to you. So yes, okay. So these are all like bad characters that have died in previous adventures.
Yeah, I got the conquistadors from the Isle of Dread, and there are other people who are jerks. So.
Oh my god. Right, well, I guess I must have seen this in bits, but oh my god, I don't think I've ever really witnessed the whole thing like this. All right, this is like, this is for God's sake. Fuck Dante, you can
Yeah,
enjoy
this
it.
actually I was. Although I was also thinking of the Ghosts and Goblins video game from the 80s from Capcom. Yeah, this one was a lot of fun. And I feel there's something comic book like about these maps because although they're not comics, of course, they're much easier and faster than drawing a comic.
Do I need to be zoomed in more?
You're still basically following a progression of action through space. There's time that's expressed through space, if that makes sense. You follow the arrow and stuff happens. It's just,
yes,
it's like a very, it's like a comic with only like 2 panels, a beginning panel and an ending panel, and the rest is just background.
Yes, so you've got to sort of journey to it. Yes, that's what's great about it. Yes. And yes, you can follow it through. But as with like comics, what we've talked about with Alan Moore saying that, in comics, the reader controls the flow of time more than in any other medium. Like a book or a movie, it's the sort of pace of your reading. Okay, you can read a bit faster or slower, but really the words are coming out one after the other. Whereas, yes, with an image, you're just sat there and you can drift and you can go forward and backward in time and see what's happening and develop a story. And and it's great for kids. Not that I would recommend this one for kids. Well, I don't know.
It depends on how old your kids are, I guess.
Once they're about 12, I guess that's fine.
If you look at
Wizards is always very good about. Just want to say, Wizards is always very good about letting me have gore in these comics. They've never made me change drawing because it's too gross. I mean, I don't. I'm not intentionally trying. I'm not intentionally trying to push it, but this is just my preferred comfort level of gore, which is probably a little high, but anyways.
When you look at the dotted line and the numbers taking the reader through the scene, this is very reminiscent of those Sunday strips by Bill Keane, Family Circus, where Billy would wander around. So in essence, you've sent Billy to hell.
Yeah, I know those ones, and they were on my mind, so they're definitely a big influence on me.
I love the river of blood.
Yeah, it's kind of a
this
wall
is reminding
of
me of
text.
Super Jail. This one. Did you ever see Super Jail?
Oh God, yes, I did see Super Jail. It is a lot like Super Jail. Yeah, that's a good point.
Super Jail was insane. That was like, oh my god. Can you imagine?
Yeah, so the one where, oh my god, yeah, that would make a good map. Not for me to draw, but the one thing I regret about this map is there's just too much text. Too much text. I wish I could have trimmed it down and just had the image drawings be more central. But I kind of get carried away in the story as I do, so it's kind of a wall of text on the sides.
I don't know. Yes, these days it's very tempting to go. Nobody wants to bloody read anything anymore. But I don't know if that's true. I think it's nice to sort of settle down and read it. I don't know.
I mean, as long as I mean, hopefully it's it's visually interesting enough that you want to look at it, and then if you have time later, you can read the read the text, right?
Yes. I know I'm going through. I already feel like I'm going through it way too quick.
Oh, Michael, thank you about the Cooper, and Kenan, thank you about the Dreamland map.
Who were your?
I'm seeing all these comments.
Who were
my
your
influences?
Cartoonists.
Well, my favorite D&D artist by far is Errol Otis. He's just a super genius
when it comes to the debate.
His was the first D&D artwork I ever saw, so it's hard to say to what degree it's just imprinting, like when the chick crawls out of a tag, the first thing it sees is its parent. But I mean, it would be, but I think I do think he's really great and really weird. And also, but I mean, I can't say that maybe it's not, it's an insult to Errol Otis to say he influenced me, because it's not like I've studied his art or that I consider myself, it's not like I think I've managed to learn any of his great color techniques or anything, but I love his work.
Yeah.
I mean, I read
somewhere along the way, maybe you sort of realize there's some people that I like, that I love, whose work I love, but I'm not going to draw like them. Maybe at one point I may have sort of tried or played around with it, but so there's sort of different, there's like what you do, what other people do that you love, it's a different thing. Yeah.
I'd like to do color like Arrow Lotus actually, but I haven't done that. And of course, his color is very strong. He doesn't. I mean, I'm basically using comic book color, right, where I'm coloring wrist in the lines. I have done some painted work here and there, but it's a bit. It's more time consuming and it's trickier for me. I mean, I love a lot of newspaper strip artists because I grew up reading newspaper comics like Calvin and Hobbes and Bloom County and The Far Side, and you know, I remember reading all of Dave Gibbons' Doctor Who comics and a lot of the British Nemesis the Warlock by Kevin O'Neill.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah,
and,
yes, Kevin O'Neill, and I like Brian Talbot before I like Kevin O'Neill, but now I just adore Kevin O'Neill, you know, and I loved all the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah. And I love manga. I love plenty of manga artists. You know, and I always, whenever I drew human figures, I was one of those guys. I was like, oh, how can I get that cuteness? How can I make characters so perfectly cute looking? So you know, I mean, with stick figures, it's not really concerned. They're you know, they don't operate on that level. I mean, although I'd like to think some of them are pretty cute.
Yeah, well, yes, you have quite an your style is very a hybrid, really, of sort of Asian style. Because that is a big influence for you, manga, and you worked with Viz Media there for a while, didn't you? Like working on those books, anyway, and yeah. So you know, and your earlier work was more that, but now it's now you have this very now it's become its sort of its own iconic. You know, and very associated.
Well, when I do draw, thank you. Well, when I do draw full human figures, I mean, I do tend to gravitate towards what I think of as a manga style. I mean, the influence is there for me. I mean, and if you look at the old D&D strip that I did, the Keep on 24th in Valencia, although there's only I only did like 20 strips for them. It didn't run very long. But I mean, I mean, that's all the characters are drawn as cute as I could. That's sort of my Moe Dungeons and Dragons comic. And I felt very gratified when some Japanese reader actually translated one of them into Japanese and posted it on Twitter. I was like, damn.
Oh yes, yes.
You know,
this was the King of RPGs one, or
oh no, not King of RPGs. The King of RPGs is also that's an homage to manga, and I didn't draw that myself though.
Yeah, I love that one. I thought that was great. And, that had a really good thing. D&D like introduction to sort of D&D mixed with manga sort of thing. I thought that was really unique. That was great. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I loved King of RPGs was a lot of fun. I spent about 2 years just working on that nonstop. And Victor was a great choice to do the art. His work was beautiful. In terms of the strip is basically a pastiche of shonen manga because I just spent 10 years editing shonen manga and working on like Yu-Gi-Oh and Dragon Ball and stuff like that. So story-wise, it leads to this weird. It's kind of weird because you're working with a plot where basically it's about strong personalities clashing with each other and people fighting. But actually, that's not what D&D is really about, unless you're at a completely in character level. But I mean, at the table, technically, it's about cooperation, and so I found
you haven't played with my current group.
Yeah, but actually, when I saw the D&D episodes of Community, I realized that they were having the same story problems that I was having when I wrote King of RPGs, where they're like, well, this D&D is not really about fighting, but we have to make it about. Okay, sorry, it's not really about fighting other human beings at the table, but we have to make it about fighting other human beings at the table. So they had to introduce this like everyone hates Chevy Chase, Chevy Chase versus everyone in D&D. So they had to introduce this PvP element, even though that's not what D&D is, and that's the core dilemma of King of RPGs. But I'm still very proud of it. Anyways, it's more of a pastiche of shonen manga than it is of role playing games ultimately. But I did get to throw a lot of it in there.
Yes, it was interesting. But it was a really good article saying that, like, by the terms of D&D, Chevy Chase's character did win, so he achieved the goal. So D&D is about your character setting goals and achieving goals, and by achieving the character's goals, they win. And his character's goal was to achieve revenge on the other players, and he did. So I don't know.
But then he gets killed. Then he gets killed at the end, right? I mean,
I don't know. Actually, I don't really know much about it. Yes, I
I saw the whole thing. you know, yeah, no, that was I did that just before I started working for Wizards, but actually it's just a coincidence. I mean, I've kind of always wanted to I've always wanted to do stuff that combines role playing and cartoons and manga. So I did a quote unquote manga. I mean, a comic graphic novel about role playing, which is King of RPGs, and then later I did Mangaka and Cartooner, the board games, or not board games, the tabletop games, which are tabletop games about manga. So I kind of came at that problem from both sides.
Yes, so you've had a lot. So besides doing D&D maps, you've made a lot of your own products over the years. So let's have a look at some of the games you've got here. All right. Yes, there's Mangaka, which I played quite a bit, and I had it at my son's school. I did art club, and we would play that sometimes, and it was always very popular.
Oh, how wonderful!
Yes,
and I remember you were one of the playtesters way back when, weren't you? I mean,
you did a playtest over in Berkeley. Yeah. Yes, that was nice. Yes, so I played it. I was one of the first players there in the store, or when you were releasing it. I think I can't remember. Yes, it was great. Yes.
So Cartooner and Mangaka, they were a lot of fun to work on, and essentially, actually, I have to really thank my wife, Jumana El-Hashel, because she really is a co-creator of them, and she's credited we're credited as co-creators on Cartooner, but really she should be credited for Mangaka too, because she helped me so much with the playtesting and everything. Those games. That was an interesting experience because I really did like 100 playtests of that game, and it went through so many different iterations. And the same for Cartooner. Although creating Cartooner is basically a quote unquote Western comics reskinned version of Mangaka with different cards. So that didn't take as long as Mangaka did.
Well, yes, that makes sense. Yes, I don't know. Yes, it's like I don't know. It depends. Yes, like manga is where you sort of come from, but if you're working in the US market, I suppose it makes more sense to be.
Chuck,
it's great to have two products anyway. Now you've got two good products. I mean, I found that having done some board game work and having they were produced by Minion Games, but having them at a show like a comic convention, it's good to have those items. It's good to have some diversity of products when you're independent that you can sell, and hopefully one thing, if one thing does well, then it raises interest in all the other things that you've done.
Yeah, Cartooner I think they're both excellent games. Cartooner's a little more, Cartooner had just a little additional playtesting, and we learned some things. So it's even though the rules are essentially the same, the presentation is improved. So there's a few things we fixed. It's interesting who they appeal to, because I have a background in manga, and some people know me for that. So Mangaka initially was kind of trading off of that, the idea for Cartooner was that it would reach a broader audience because it's cartoons. It's not manga. It doesn't have all of the weird niche stuff, the weird otaku stuff that that manga does.
Yeah.
But the thing is though that manga fans are deeper. They're more manga and anime fans. They're more deep hardcore nerds. If you're talking about cartoons, then people will say like, yeah, everybody loves cartoons. I love cartoons, but what does that mean? It's more of a it's more broad and shallow. But honestly, they're both really, they turned out to both be really good games for children. But Cartooner is better for that because it doesn't have so many inappropriate cards that you have to hide like Mangaka does.
Yeah, Cartoon is better for schools though. I mean, I think it was popular. I think there's a sort of activity that teachers love, where the kids are sort of drawing and writing a story.
It's it's and for me, it is a timed game. So you're basically drawing. My dog is here. Come on, June, up. Michael, bye. Thank you for showing up.
Cheers, Michael. Yes, thank you.
And I
we're going an hour, Jason. I don't know. You said you might have to run off after an hour.
I should run soon. Here's our dog.
Yeah, with no rush on our end.
So you didn't get to meet my daughter because my wife is taking care of her right now. But this is our doggy. Yeah, no, I love. I mean, cartooner and mangaka. Yeah, they have the thing is they're both timed games, right? So you have like 5 minutes to do the next. You have 5 minutes each round to do the page of your story, which can involve a combination of writing or drawing. But it really is creative, whether you're writing or just whether you're drawing it or just basically writing it and drawing like a few smiley faces. It's still a creative activity, right? And it's still timed,
Yes.
so it's
it's time and
so it's a little bit of a
all these things that you learn, and just thinking to exercise your brain and try and think a little differently, and break out of the box. Kids, it's difficult. They're like always a bit sort of shy and sometimes a bit shy to try stuff. So it just sort of kind of makes them kind of have to do it, and then when you have to do it, then you see what you did, and you're like, oh, and you just had fun playing it. Whether you did a good drawing or made a good comic, you had fun in the minute of making it, and the more you did it, the better you'd get at it.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's so it's a bit of an icebreaker, and also it's like running a sprint. It's like a workout. Because that was what we intended, anyways. And it's fascinating to see what different people get out of it and playing it. Well, I actually do have to go soon. Okay. And I wanted to before I go, I wanted to say, can I do a final plug?
Sure, please. Yes, of course.
Okay, sorry, and then I'll let you have the last word, of course, because you invited me on, and it's been really great to talk to you both. What I'm working on now. So what I'm working on now, apart from my animation work, is I'm working on the Dreamland role-playing game. Which is my role-playing game set in the dream world of H.P. Lovecraft and Lord Dunsany and other writers in that style. And so that's been my big thing that I've been working on these last 2 years. And so I'll try to throw a link into the comments of that, so you all can check it out.
Yes,
it'll be out.
Do it now. Send it to me now, because I want the comments get it's easy to do it. It will go to all the threads if I do it now. Once we stop,
my goodness. Okay.
It'll be more of a palaver. There we go.
I sent you a private chat. I don't know if these are. I don't know where these are going. I never did. Yeah.
There we are. dreamrpg.com. Bring it up here quickly.
All right.
Oh my goodness! Yes. This. All right.
And there's some of my human figures.
Yes.
Finally know a non-stick figure drawing.
Yes. Very great. Yes. So beautiful. Look at those colors. Yes, this is where you're at now. This is where yes, we've been showing some of your work from a few years ago. Yes, and I've followed you for a long time now. You've been remarkably consistent, but you refined it, and it's just gets better and better. Look at this. The depth that you're getting with the shading and the subtlety and the expressions, and just all the wonderful little objects and things to look at and details. Just fantastic. Yes.
Was this pen and ink?
And that's just the picture. That's just the art. So yes. All right. So yes, we have a bestiary. Zoogs.
Oh yeah, that's I need to update the blog badly, but so like an iceberg, a lot has been going on under the surface. I don't know if that's how icebergs really work, but yeah, that's just a little bit of it.
Okay.
Anyways, I
all right. Yes.
I can't go into my whole sales spiel. I'll spare you that because I've got to run anyways. But
all right. Well, that sounds wonderful, Jason. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's amazing. Yeah, Dreamland RPG, your pandemic project. Well done. Thank you, and thank you for helping me do my Kickstarter for my little pandemic project, and really appreciate it, mate. You've been a good friend over the years. It's great to know you, and it's been fantastic looking at your work too.
And the same to you. And I hope we let's stay friends, and it's always great to talk to you, and it's great to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
But I'm gonna run now. Thank you so much for having me on, and good luck with the final hours of the Kickstarter tomorrow. And peace out.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, Jason. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. I'll turn them off. There we go. All right. Oh, Dale, we're back with you again. Hello. All right. Thanks everybody who joined us in the chat there. It's been awesome to see you all. I'm going to be back in the morning with Dale and Kenan. Kenan, you going to join us? Kenan James is going to be with us. I don't know. Are you still out there, Kenan? You'll be joining us in the morning anyway. Dale, where did you go? Oh, there you are. All right. There you are. All right. All right. Well, shall I play the music?
Yep.
Oh wait, we got messages. Kenan, yes, he's with us tomorrow. That's good. All right, yes. So we'll see you in the morning at 9, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for checking it out, everybody. All right, shall I play the music?
Time to go.
I'll play the music if I can find it. Here it is. All right. Bye.
I'm just going up this water spout, y'all. Y'all, hope it don't
The
rain.
itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. So the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I'm just going up this water spout, y'all. Hope it don't rain. I'm an itsy bitsy spider. I'm also a good hider. Y'all ain't gonna find me.
The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. So the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
It's going up this,
Up the spout again.
it's going up this.
Up the spout again.